Beneath the Antarctic ice lies a whole continent, the size of Australia, waiting to be discovered. Antarctica covers an area of around 14 million square kilometers and has mountain ranges reaching heights of up to 3,000 meters. For example, the Vinson Massif, the highest point on the continent, rises to 4,888 meters above sea level and serves not only as a geographical but also a symbolic peak to which mountaineers from around the world aspire. If we could remove the ice cover, we would see breathtaking views, dark rocks framing light plains, winding riverbeds that were once filled with water but are now frozen in time. Along these rivers, one could see traces of ancient glaciers that once shaped this landscape, leaving behind unique geological formations. Deep valleys like the McMurdo Valley remind us of the power of nature in creating diverse ecosystems, now hidden under a multi-meter layer of ice. Beneath the ice, there are not only mountains and valleys, but also lakes. One of the most famous is Lake Vostok, which has been isolated from the outside world for millions of years. This lake has an area of around 11,000 square kilometers and a depth of more than 1 kilometer, making it one of the largest subglacial lakes on the planet. Research conducted by Russian scientists in 2012 showed that its waters may harbor unique microorganisms adapted to extreme conditions. These findings raise questions about the possibility of life in other extreme environments, such as subglacial oceans on Jupiter and Saturn's moons. If we could see this hidden part of Antarctica, we would be struck by the contrasts, the vibrant colors of mosses and lichens that could grow in sheltered places, protected from the wind, and the ice caps surrounding bare rocks. The aesthetics of this region would be unique, with a rich diversity of textures and forms, each telling a story of thousands of years of glacial cover. Even now, despite the harsh conditions, scientists continue to explore this continent using satellite images and underwater robotic devices that allow us to glimpse its secrets. In 2009, an international team of researchers discovered more than 300 new subglacial lakes, indicating that Antarctica still holds many secrets waiting to be discovered. Beneath the icy expanses of Antarctica lie not just barren ice fields, but entire subglacial worlds waiting to be discovered. In 1989, Russian researchers made a groundbreaking discovery by finding Lake Vostok, one of the world's largest subglacial lakes. Its area is comparable to Lake Ontario, and its depth exceeds 900 meters. This colossal lake is located under a layer of ice more than 4 kilometers thick and has been isolated from the external environment for around 24 million years. The mechanism that allows water to remain liquid is due to geothermal heat from the Earth and the immense pressure of the ice cover. Radar surveys conducted using specialized equipment have allowed scientists to clearly visualize the contours of the lake and its depths. These data were obtained through complex methods involving radio waves that penetrate the ice and reflect off the water surface. This approach not only enables the detection of water bodies, but also allows for the assessment of their size and depth without direct contact. This discovery has raised numerous questions about life in these isolated ecosystems. Research indicates that Lake Vostok may harbor unique organisms that have adapted to extreme conditions and darkness. Such subglacial water bodies like Lake Vostok may contain ancient ecosystems that existed long before the emergence of modern life forms. This opens new horizons for understanding biology and ecology in conditions entirely different from the familiar. Water in these lakes under pressure does not freeze despite the extreme temperatures of the surrounding ice, creating unique conditions for the existence of microorganisms. Research continues, and each new stage brings fresh data and mysteries about how life can exist in conditions previously considered completely inhospitable. Just recently, in 2020, an international group of scientists confirmed the presence of oxygen and nutrients in the subglacial waters, indicating the possibility of life in these isolated ecosystems. Comparing these lakes with other water bodies on Earth underscores their uniqueness. For instance, Lake Vostok may contain organisms that have never encountered oxygen and light, challenging our notions of life. Such discoveries raise questions about the origin of life on Earth and how it might appear on other planets where conditions are also extreme. Antarctica is not just a vast icy continent, it is a true reserve of fresh water containing approximately 70% of all fresh water on the planet in the form of ice. If we imagine that all the Antarctic ice were to melt, the level of the world ocean would rise by 58 to 60 meters, potentially flooding coastal cities worldwide and dramatically altering the planet's geography. The ice caps formed over millions of years contain crystal clear water that has no equivalent in terms of transparency and purity. This water trapped in ancient ice appears as the purest crystal, and its ability to refract light creates unique shades of blue and turquoise that captivate the eye. It is no wonder that many researchers, such as Dr. James Cass, who studies Antarctic glaciers, note that these ice masses hold crucial data on the climate and ecosystems that existed on Earth millions of years ago. Glaciers, which can reach thicknesses of more than 3 kilometers, formed over centuries, and their study helps us understand how the climate has changed on our planet. For instance, if we could extract all the water from Antarctica, we would have a body of water capable of filling more than 100 trillion barrels, which is many times the volume of the largest lake on Earth. The uniqueness of Antarctic glaciers lies not only in their size, but also in their ability to preserve climate data in the form of air bubbles trapped in the ice, which allow scientists to reconstruct past atmospheric conditions. These ice molecules can reveal what the Earth's atmosphere looked like more than 800,000 years ago, when the level of carbon dioxide was significantly lower than it is now. Studies show that changes in climate can lead to rapid melting of the ice, which in turn could have a serious impact on sea levels and climate conditions worldwide. Melting of Antarctic ice already today causes concern among scientists, and the consequences of this process could be catastrophic for coastal cities and ecosystems. Imagine the world map if the sea level rises by 6 meters, which is quite possible in the next few centuries. The Netherlands, which are below sea level, will simply disappear, leaving behind only memories of their famous canals and windmills. In Bangladesh, where about 30% of the territory is at low elevation, it will become uninhabitable, with millions of people left in a humanitarian crisis. Venice, known for its romantic canals, will lose its charm when water enters churches and squares, and the sound of receding and advancing water will become a daily reality for its residents. St. Petersburg, with its magnificent architecture and unique bridges, will also be at risk if the level of the Baltic Sea rises, leading to the flooding of historical buildings and the destruction of cultural heritage. New Orleans, famous for its jazz traditions and cuisine, will have to accept constant flooding, with its famous streets becoming part of the seabed. The sound of water receding due to rising sea levels will remind of the tragedy, and the salty smell of the ocean will penetrate deep into the continents, altering ecosystems and leading to the extinction of many species. These changes will not happen instantly. The process will take centuries, but the consequences will be irreversible. Each generation will witness the familiar landscape gradually losing its contours, with new shorelines forming where once there were houses, fields, and cities. Scientists like Dr. James Hansen predict that by the end of the 21st century, the sea level could rise by 1 meter, causing serious problems for coastal regions. Approximately 60% of the world's population lives within 100 kilometers of the coast, and if these areas are threatened, the consequences will not only be ecological, but also economic, cultural, and social. Migration caused by climate change will become one of the most serious problems of our time, and many will be left homeless, exacerbating global conflicts and instability. Technologies such as drainage systems and protective dams can help, but they will not solve the problem completely. Each solution will require significant financial investment and international cooperation, which in conditions of political instability may become practically impossible. Moreover, such measures may be insufficient, as no dam can stop nature if it decides to change its course. Few people consider that Antarctic ice is not just frozen water, but a genuine time capsule containing air bubbles from the atmospheres of past eras. These bubbles are remnants of ancient air trapped by snow as it fell onto the continent's surface. Over time, snow accumulates and compresses under its own weight, transforming first into firn and then into dense ice. This process can take thousands of years. For instance, in East Antarctica, the ice thickness reaches 3 kilometers, and at a depth of 1,000 meters, ice formed more than 100,000 years ago can be found. When scientists drill ice cores, they uncover these tiny time capsules that preserve information about the atmosphere's composition, temperature, and climate conditions. Each air bubble is a testament to how Earth looked in different historical periods. Within these bubbles, not only carbon dioxide and methane, but also volcanic ash, dust particles, and other materials that traveled through the air when Earth was vastly different can be found. For example, analysis of ice samples from Greenland's glaciers shows that between 70 and 100,000 years ago, the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was significantly lower than today, indicating a colder climate. Ice cores from Antarctica also contain information about volcanic activity, as volcanic ash falls on the surface and then becomes incorporated into the ice. This allows scientists not only to reconstruct past climate conditions, but also to track volcanic events that occurred in the past. For instance, ice cores taken from the West Antarctic region contain evidence of volcanic eruptions that occurred more than 100,000 years ago, providing insights into volcanic activity and its impact on climate. These studies are crucial for understanding how Earth's climate has changed and what factors have influenced this change. Approximately 34 million years ago, when Antarctica separated from Gondwana and began moving towards the South Pole, the climate on the continent began to gradually change. During this period, known as the Eocene, lush forests thrived on the territory of Antarctica. Around 30 million years ago, a sharp cooling began and the forests gave way to tundra. Research shows that the temperature on the continent dropped by about 10 degrees Celsius, leading to significant changes in the ecosystem. By the end of the Eocene, around 33 million years ago, ice sheets began to form in the mountains, signaling future changes in climate and landscape. As the continent continued to move south, glaciers slowly descended into valleys, covering them with their icy mantle. By the beginning of the Oligocene, around 30 million years ago, the icy mantle already occupied a significant part of the continent. Studies conducted by scientists show that during this period, glaciers reached their maximum thickness, exceeding 3 kilometers in some places. Simultaneously with the formation of glaciers, there was a change in vegetation. Coniferous forests and various plant species characteristic of a warmer climate gradually disappeared. Instead, sparse thickets, mainly consisting of mosses and lichens, appeared on the continent. By the beginning of the Miocene, around 23 million years ago, the climate became even harsher, and the ice sheet expanded, covering almost the entire territory of the modern continent. This icy mantle became an important part of the global climate system, influencing sea level and oceanic current circulation. Glaciers, which had once begun as small icy streams, grew to such proportions that their influence was felt far beyond Antarctica. As a result, around 12 million years ago, the ice sheet took on its modern form, creating conditions for unique ecosystems and climate that we observe today. The ice shield of Antarctica, consisting of a colossal mass of ice, is divided into the eastern and western shields, each with unique characteristics and dynamics. The eastern shield, located mainly at high altitudes, covers approximately 4 million square kilometers and has an average thickness of around 3 kilometers, while the western shield, less stable and thinner, occupies an area of about 300,000 square kilometers with an average thickness of around 1 kilometer. Glaciers originating in these shields slowly flow from the continent's center to the ocean, with speeds varying from several centimeters to several meters per year, creating a stunning spectacle. Massive ice flows like slow rivers carve through the white plateau. These flows produce characteristic sounds, cracking and creaking as ice compresses and expands, as well as deep rumbles when massive ice masses collide or carve into the sea. Such sounds are often likened to music composed by nature itself, while from a bird's-eye view, the glaciers appear as winding white ribbons stretching across vast expanses. Ice shelves, such as the Ross and Phillips ice shelves, represent the boundary between land and sea, where ice meets ocean waters, forming majestic ice walls up to 100 meters high. These ice shelves are subject to the influence of ocean temperatures, leading to the melting and carving of large icebergs, as occurred in 2012, when a giant iceberg with an area of more than 300 square kilometers broke off from the Larsen B ice shelf. Each year, scientists record changes in the ice cover using satellite technologies, such as the IceSat system, which allows tracking the dynamics of glaciers and their response to climate change. Comparing data from the past decades shows that the rate of glacier melting is increasing, causing serious concern among climatologists and geographers. The ice shields of Antarctica play a crucial role in the global system, influencing sea levels and climate conditions worldwide. Each glacier, each flow. It is not just ice, but a repository of climate information that has been changing over millions of years. Antarctica is not just an icy continent, it is a key player in the global climate system. The cold air that accumulates over its vast ice fields creates powerful atmospheric circulation flows that influence weather worldwide. These flows form what is known as the polar atmospheric circulation, which is responsible for the movement of air masses and the formation of climatic zones at different latitudes. For instance, they contribute to the formation of powerful storms and cyclonic activities that can reach even tropical latitudes, causing heavy rains and hurricanes. Additionally, the cold bottom waters that form around Antarctica play a crucial role in the global thermohaline circulation known as the global conveyor belt. These waters, rich in oxygen and nutrients, sink to the ocean floor and, moving through all the oceans, support the life of marine ecosystems. Powerful ocean currents like the Gulf Stream depend on these cold waters, which in turn influence the climate in Europe and North America. One striking example is how changes in the temperature of waters in the Southern Ocean can affect the direction and speed of the Gulf Stream, significantly impacting weather conditions on the continent. Research indicates that over the past 50 years, the surface water temperature in the vicinity of Antarctica has increased by 2 degrees Celsius, which is already causing concern among scientists. Each year, the ice cover loses around 30 billion tons of ice, leading to a rise in sea level and consequently posing a threat to coastal regions worldwide. It is important to note that climate change in Antarctica has repercussions in the most remote corners of the Earth, from the Arctic to the tropics, underscoring the importance of monitoring these processes. Observations by satellites and scientific expeditions show that changes in the ice cover are directly linked to global temperature. For example, according to NASA, if current trends continue, sea levels could rise by 1 meter in the 21st century. These changes do not affect only physical processes, they also impact the biosphere, redistributing species and ecosystems. Therefore, the influence of Antarctica on climate and ocean currents is not just a local phenomenon, it is a global problem that requires international attention and action. The transformation of snowflakes into ice in Antarctica is a long and complex process that occurs in conditions where the temperature is constantly low. As snowflakes fall onto the surface, they begin to lose their original lace-like structure. Each new layer of snow settling on the already accumulated snow compresses the lower layers, resulting in the formation of firn, a transitional stage between snow and ice. Firn is a more compact and granular material with a characteristic white hue, but it has already lost the fluffiness of freshly fallen snow. This process can take decades or even centuries, depending on the climatic conditions and the amount of precipitation. As layers of snow continue to accumulate, their weight causes the firn to compact, gradually turning it into ice. At this stage, there is a change in density. The ice becomes much denser and heavier than its predecessor. The color and transparency of the material also undergo significant changes. Initially, the white snow appears soft and light, but it gradually turns into a bluish transparent ice as the air from the bubbles trapped within it escapes. This bluish tint is due to the fact that ice absorbs red and yellow light, while blue light is reflected. Therefore, the ice formed in Antarctica can reach a thickness of up to 3 kilometers, and its age can be counted in thousands of years. Scientific research shows that ice samples extracted from deep boreholes contain information about climatic changes over the past 80,000 years, allowing scientists to make conclusions about the Earth's past. In particular, the analysis of oxygen isotopes in ice cores provides insights into temperature fluctuations and levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which, in turn, influence the climatic conditions. Few people consider how pressure and temperature affect the formation of ice in icebergs hidden beneath layers of snow and ice. At depths where the weight of multi-kilometer layers of ice reaches 3 to 4 kilometers, the pressure becomes so great that it begins to transform the crystalline structure of the ice. This process is called ice differentiation and results in the gradual expulsion of air trapped in the crystalline lattice. As a result, a denser ice is formed, which differs from the familiar white ice. At different depths, ice has varying densities and even different crystalline forms. At the surface, it is a loose snow layer, while at depth, one can encounter crystals that become more ordered and dense, reaching a structure similar to what is known as crystalline ice. These changes occur imperceptibly to the eye, but they play a critical role in the dynamics of glaciers and their interaction with the surrounding environment. Based on ice shields, temperature can rise to 0 degrees Celsius and even higher due to the effect of pressure and geothermal heat. This phenomenon can cause ice to melt even at negative surface temperatures, creating water pockets that can influence the movement of glaciers. Studies show that at depths of up to 1 kilometer, temperature can reach -30 degrees Celsius, while at depths greater than 3 kilometers, it can rise to 0 and above. This creates unique conditions that facilitate the formation of subglacial lakes and other geological formations. In particular, more than 400 subglacial lakes have been discovered in Antarctica, some of which, such as Lake Vostok, are located beneath layers of ice more than 3,000 meters thick. These lakes can contain unique forms of life that have adapted to extreme conditions. Studies of samples from these lakes show that they can be isolated from the external environment for millions of years, allowing scientists to study ecosystems that once existed in conditions no longer found on the Earth's surface. Imagine that beneath the icy cover of Antarctica lie ancient landscapes that seem to have been frozen in time. These landscapes, including mountains, valleys, and lakes, have been preserved in their pristine beauty for millions of years. Since the onset of glaciation around 30 million years ago, some of these landforms have retained their shapes and features, unchanged. For instance, ice sheets up to 3 kilometers thick cover structures like the Transantarctic Mountains. These mountains not only create a unique landscape, but also provide crucial information about the climatic conditions that existed before glaciation. 82% of Antarctica's territory is covered by ice, and beneath this layer lie traces of another era when the continent was not covered by glaciers. Research conducted in 2000 by a team of geologists from the University of Auckland revealed that beneath the ice sheets lie remnants of ancient river systems that could have existed millions of years ago. These rivers may have been part of warmer climatic periods when Antarctica had a more diverse flora and fauna. By studying samples of sedimentary rocks, scientists discovered fossils of ancient plants such as conifers and ferns that once grew on this continent. These findings allow us to reconstruct the appearance of Antarctica during a time when it was not just a frozen wasteland, but a flourishing region teeming with life. Additionally, analysis of ice cores taken from the depths of the ice sheet provides data on the composition of the atmosphere and climate of the past. For example, in 2005, a team of Norwegian researchers extracted ice cores over 800,000 years old that contain information about temperature and carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. These data help us understand not only the changes in global climate, but also provide insights into future climate changes. Thus, the ancient landscapes hidden beneath the ice cap are a treasure trove of information about how Antarctica looked before it was engulfed in glaciation. Located under layers of ice, these land areas remain inaccessible to modern humans, but their study opens windows into the past, allowing us to restore lost worlds. 85% of the ice cover retains information that can change our understanding not only of Antarctica's history, but also of global climate processes. It is hard to imagine, but millions of years ago, Antarctica was not a cold and lifeless continent, but rather a green paradise with lush forests and diverse ecosystems. During the time when Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, it was located in warmer latitudes, connected to South America, Africa, India, and Australia. This was around 100 million years ago during the Cretaceous period, when the climate was significantly warmer than it is now. The forests covering the continent were full of conifers such as sequoias and other evergreen plants. The sound of tropical rainstorms filled the air, and dense trees created shadows where various animals hid. Dinosaurs like Gallimimus and Ankylosaurus, as well as early mammals and diverse reptiles, inhabited these lands. Around 30 million years ago, during the Eocene, the process of continental drift began, leading to the isolation of Antarctica. It started moving towards the South Pole, and the climate began to change. Initially, forests started to disappear, giving way to colder conditions. Temperatures began to drop, and glaciation began, eventually resulting in the ice sheet that covers the continent today. Scientific research shows that during the glaciation period, which began around 30 million years ago, the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere dropped sharply, contributing to further cooling of the climate. As a result of this process, the climate conditions changed so drastically that Antarctica transformed into the harsh and icy continent we know today. Important evidence of these changes is provided by geological deposits that show how the landscape and ecosystems of the region have changed over millions of years. Fossilized plants and animals found in layers dated to different epochs allow scientists to reconstruct ancient ecosystems and climate conditions. For example, in the early 2000s in the area of Wilkes Bay, remains of ancient trees were found, indicating that there were once dense forests in this region. These findings underscore the importance of studying Antarctica for understanding broader climate processes and the history of the Earth. Scientific research reveals that in the past, Antarctica was completely different, warmer, and more comfortable. For instance, in the 2000s, fossils of plants and animals were discovered in the mountains of the Transantarctic Range, which significantly alter our understanding of the climate in this region. Fossils of ancient ferns, such as glossopterids, indicate that millions of years ago dense forests grew here. These plants, reaching heights of up to 10 meters, had broad leaves that could absorb sunlight and release fresh oxygen, creating an atmosphere filled with the scent of greenery and moisture. The sounds of a tropical forest, likely resembling a symphony, would have included rustling leaves, birdsong, and the hum of insects. Life thrived around, from vibrant flowers to large reptiles like dinosaurs, which left their footprints in the soft soil. Dinosaur fossils found in these areas varied from small ones, reminiscent of modern ostriches, to giants up to 30 meters long, which emitted deep sounds similar to roars. Their images contrast sharply with the current icy silence, where snow-covered peaks of the range stand still, awaiting new discoveries. In one such place, near Scott Pass, fossils dating back over 100 million years have been found, indicating the existence of warm ecosystems when the climate was significantly milder. Studies also show that Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, meaning that these plant and animal fossils are not unique, but represent fragments of a broader picture of ancient life. Therefore, each layer of Earth dug up by scientists opens a new chapter in the history of the planet, showing how climatic changes shape the Earth's landscape and its inhabitants. These findings are not just fossils, they are keys to unlocking the mysteries of the past, allowing us to imagine what life was like in the warm climate that now seems like a distant dream. When significant changes occurred on the planet, Antarctica underwent its own transformation. Around 34 million years ago, a process began that ultimately led to the formation of the icy continent as we know it today. The temperature gradually decreased, and the first glaciers began to form in the mountains as the climate became colder. This process was not instantaneous. It took millions of years, and each change had a significant impact on the local ecosystems. Forests that once covered a large part of the continent began to retreat. Around 31 million years ago, with the onset of glaciation, flora began to decline. Tropical forests, where diverse birds and mammals lived, disappeared, giving way to harsher conditions characteristic of a cold climate. The soil gradually froze, becoming unsuitable for the life of many plants. Animal migration became a necessity for survival. For example, some mammals, such as the ancestors of modern llamas, began to move north in search of warmer conditions. Others were unable to adapt and became extinct, leaving only fossils that modern scientists find in the layers of the Earth. By 14 million years ago, the climate became so cold that glaciers covered the entire continent, forming vast ice sheets that began to shape the landscape. These glaciers, reaching thicknesses of up to 3 kilometers in some places, became the dominant element in the regional ecosystem. They changed not only the appearance of Antarctica, but also its climatic conditions, creating powerful cold winds and altering atmospheric pressure. As a result, unique conditions were formed that became the basis for the development of the Antarctic ecosystem, where survival became possible only for the most hardy species. Over millions of years, changes occurred that continue to influence the climate of the entire planet. The complete glaciation of Antarctica, which ended around 14 million years ago, was one of the most significant events in the history of the Earth, affecting sea levels and climatic conditions worldwide. Tectonic processes that occurred over millions of years played a crucial role in shaping the climate of Antarctica. Around 40 million years ago, Antarctica separated from Australia and South America, leading to the formation of the circumpolar current. This current became a true climatic barrier, isolating the continent from warm equatorial waters. As a result of this separation, temperatures in the region began to drop sharply, leading to the formation of ice sheets that continue to grow and change to this day. Once the circumpolar current began to circulate around Antarctica, it created a kind of cold barrier that not only kept heat in the Southern Ocean waters, but also contributed to the formation of ice caps that now cover around 90% of the continent's surface. This process was not instantaneous. It occurred over millions of years, and its effects are felt not only locally, but globally. Changes in oceanic circulation caused by the separation of the continent affected global climate, altering rainfall patterns and temperatures. Around 30 million years ago, when Antarctica finally froze, it became a significant player in the planet's climate system, marking the beginning of the era we now call the Antarctic glaciation. The impact of these changes is still felt today. Due to the continuous melting of glaciers, sea levels continue to rise, threatening coastal regions worldwide. Thus, tectonic changes and ocean currents not only transformed the face of Antarctica, but also initiated a chain of events that fundamentally altered the Earth's climate system. It is important to note that the influence of the circumpolar current is still evident in modern climate models, where its role in maintaining cold waters and regulating temperature remains critically important for understanding global climate change. Long ago, when the world's maps still bore white spots, explorers sought out unknown lands filled with mysteries and riddles. The 18th century was an era of great discoveries when Antarctica, both alluring and inaccessible, appeared on the horizon. In 1773, English Captain James Cook became the first to cross the southern polar circle. His expeditions aboard the Endeavour and later the Resolution were fraught with difficulties. The creaking of masts, the howling of icy winds that pierced to the bone, and raging storms that sent sailors adrift. Despite all his efforts, Cook did not see the continent itself, but his observations of the icy expanses and boundless oceans laid the foundation for future expeditions. In 1820, Russian Admiral Fadej Bellingshausen and Captain Mikhail Lazarev, aboard the sloops Vostok and Miri, became the first to sight the shores of Antarctica. As their ships approached the continent, sailors felt an unforgettable cold that burned their faces, and they saw the icy mountains shimmering on the horizon like giant crystals reflecting sunlight. The clanking of rigging mingled with the cries of seagulls, and the air was filled with the salt spray of the ocean. These pioneers witnessed a natural wonder when the icy walls rose high above sea level like ancient sentinels. Their determined efforts and courage opened a new chapter in the history of geography and navigation, paving the way for future researchers. Notably, the expedition of Bellingshausen and Lazarev not only confirmed the existence of Antarctica, but also gathered extensive data on its climate, flora, and fauna, which became the basis for further research. From that moment on, the icy continent ceased to be merely a myth on a map and became an object of scientific interest and study. The era when brave souls ventured into the most remote corners of the Earth became a true epoch of heroic Antarctic exploration. Ernest Shackleton's expedition in 1906, known as the Nimrod Expedition, brought extraordinary challenges and achievements to this history. Despite the difficulties, his team managed to reach the South Pole, but that was not the essence of their struggle. Shackleton, like a man defying nature itself, demonstrated exceptional leadership when their ship, the Endurance, was wrecked in 1907. The crew, stranded in the abyss of despair, endured sea storms, brutal cold down to -50 degrees Celsius, and lack of food. They seized every opportunity for survival, hunting seals and penguins, risking their lives on slippery ice. Their physical and psychological state fluctuated on the edge of endurance. Sleep deprivation, constant hunger, and the blinding whiteness of the endless snow forced them to fight their own consciousness. The rivalry between Shackleton and Robert Scott, who led his expedition to the South Pole in 1908, added drama to this story. Scott, eager to claim the title of discoverer, reached the pole with 4 companions, but his triumph turned into tragedy. On January 18, 1911, learning that they were second after Amundsen, Scott and his team, realizing that the distant return journey would be fraught with dangers, began their return. Every day they faced unbearable conditions, fierce blizzards, lack of oxygen, and exhaustion that accumulated with each step. In the end, Scott and his companions perished in their tents from cold and hunger, just 80 kilometers from salvation. The rivalry between these great explorers not only marked a harsh struggle for primacy, but also demonstrated the strength of the human spirit in the face of relentless nature. Each of them, Shackleton, Scott, and Roald Amundsen, became symbols of courage and resilience, pushing through icy expanses where every moment was on the edge of life and death. They left behind a legacy that inspires researchers and travelers to this day. The area of Antarctica they explored is now considered one of the harshest and most mysterious on Earth. Modern scientific expeditions in Antarctica continue to open new horizons in the study of this remarkable continent. For instance, in 2021, a group of researchers from the University of London conducted a unique operation to study subglacial lakes located beneath a multi-kilometer layer of ice. One of the most famous such lakes is Lake Vostok, which has been isolated from the surrounding environment for millions of years. The use of ice drills capable of penetrating to a depth of 35 kilometers became a real breakthrough in research. These devices, resembling giant drills, produce resonant sounds as they penetrate the ice, creating vibrations that are transmitted through special sensors on the surface. Scientists control their operation using complex computer systems that allow them to accurately monitor the drilling process and analyze the collected data in real time. In addition to drilling, researchers use autonomous underwater vehicles equipped with cameras and sensors to explore subglacial ecosystems. These robots, resembling small submarines, can move in icy water, collecting samples and transmitting images to the surface. They create visualizations of places where no human foot has ever stepped, revealing secrets that have been hidden for millions of years. In 2018, such an apparatus, named Submarine, was able to explore the subglacial Lake Vostok, discovering microorganisms that, it seems, have adapted to conditions vastly different from those on the surface. These microorganisms survive in conditions where the temperature reaches -40 degrees Celsius, and the oxygen level is extremely low. Human technology creates a contrast with the wild nature of Antarctica, where ice and cold reign supreme. Scientific stations such as Mirny and Spazat become real bases for researchers where they can gather, exchange data, and prepare for new expeditions. The Mirny station, established in 1961, continues to operate, providing researchers with the opportunity to conduct experiments and observations in extreme conditions. Inside the station, there are laboratories where scientists can analyze samples of ice and water obtained from beneath the multi-year ice. In 2020, researchers working at this station recorded an increase in temperature by 2 degrees Celsius over the past 30 years, which raises serious concerns about climate change and its impact on the entire planet. These data become an important element in global research on climate change and its consequences. Antarctica, on the one hand, remains closed and mysterious. On the other, opens up to high technologies and new knowledge that can change our understanding of the world. Modern research methods make it possible to study the icy continent, which not only contains unique ecosystems, but also clues to understanding our own planet. For example, in 2019, scientists from the Polar Research Institute presented results showing that subglacial lakes may contain traces of ancient climatic changes, which are key to understanding the history of the Earth. Few people ponder how researchers study hidden subglacial landscapes in Antarctica, but the methods they employ are astonishing in their complexity and effectiveness. One of the key tools is radar systems that send radio waves through ice up to several kilometers thick. These radio waves, upon reaching the boundary between the ice and the subglacial surface, reflect back and are received by the researchers, allowing them to create radargrams. These radargrams are graphical representations of the various layers of subglacial topography, including underwater mountains and ice caves. In 2000, researchers from the University of California conducted successful experiments using radar systems, revealing previously unknown structures beneath the ice that testify to complex geological processes. Seismic methods also play a crucial role in studying subglacial landscapes. Researchers generate artificial sound waves that penetrate the ice and reflect off various layers, such as water, rocks, and other geological formations. These reflections are recorded by seismometers, enabling the creation of a three-dimensional model of the subglacial topography. In 2015, a team of Norwegian scientists used seismic research to determine the thickness of the ice and the structure of the seabed in the western Antarctic region. The results provided a detailed picture that revealed underwater canyons and other features previously unknown. The combination of radar and seismic methods allows not only the study of the geology of subglacial landscapes, but also the analysis of potential climate changes that may occur due to warming. For example, in 2020, an international group of scientists conducted joint research that showed that subglacial lakes, as mentioned earlier, significantly influenced the dynamics of glaciers, and their study became possible thanks to these modern technologies. The scientific community continues to develop these methods, opening new horizons in understanding the complex processes occurring on our icy continent. Observations obtained through radar and seismic methods help not only in the study of geology, but also in assessing potential risks associated with the state of ice shields, which is critically important for predicting the future level of the world ocean. Remarkably, beneath the icy shields lie extraordinary landscapes that significantly influence the dynamics of glaciers and, consequently, the global climate. The shape of the subglacial terrain, including valleys and mountain ranges, determines the speed and direction of glacier movement, as if they were guided along tracks. For example, in Antarctica, there is a system of subglacial valleys known as fjords, which serve as a kind of corridor for glaciers, directing their flow in a specific direction. These subglacial valleys can reach depths of several kilometers, and their shape affects how ice moves and distributes across the surface. According to research conducted by a group of scientists led by Dr. Edward B. Black of the University of Brighton, the speed of glacier movement can increase by up to 30% when moving through such valleys compared to flatter areas. Conversely, high mountains create obstacles that slow down ice flows, and in this context, subglacial lakes become important elements that facilitate the movement of ice. These lakes form as a result of ice melt and can be under the pressure of the glacier mass, creating conditions for the formation of a water pocket. Water flows formed by melting act as a lubricant, allowing ice to slide faster over the irregularities of the subglacial terrain. For example, the subglacial Lake Westney, discovered in Antarctica in 2008, demonstrated how such bodies of water can significantly influence the speed of glacier movement in this region. Scientists found that the water level in these lakes can vary, which in turn affects the movement of ice, creating cycles of slowing and acceleration that can last for decades. Understanding these connections between the invisible subglacial world and visible surface processes is crucial for predicting future changes in the ice sheet. Scientific research shows that changes in subglacial landscapes can lead to catastrophic consequences for global sea levels. For instance, in 2020, a team of researchers led by Dr. Laura S. Gilbert of the University of California, Los Angeles, found that a single subglacial lake can increase the rate of glacier flow by tens of meters per year. These factors play a significant role in altering the planet's climate system, as the melting of glaciers leads to an increase in sea level, threatening coastal regions worldwide. Imagine endless ice plains where powerful glaciers, stretching for hundreds of kilometers, slowly crawl towards the coast like ancient monsters awakening from winter's slumber. In Antarctica, ice flows such as the Taylor Glacier move at speeds of several meters per day, driven by the force of gravity and internal processes that remain a mystery even to leading scientists. They compress and deform, forming cracks and channels that lead to shelf glaciers floating on the ocean's surface. These shelf glaciers, like the Ross Ice Shelf, create massive ice platforms that can reach thicknesses of up to 3 kilometers and serve as barriers preventing the internal glaciers from inevitable melting. When these shelf glaciers begin to fracture and carve, they produce sounds that can be compared to thunderous crashes when massive icebergs the size of small countries like Malta fall into the ocean. In 2019, researchers led by Dr. Emma Hughes from the University of Edinburgh recorded the carving of an iceberg measuring 1,000 square kilometers from the Larsen Shelf, one of the largest ice losses in the region in recent decades. These catastrophic events are accompanied not only by the spectacle, but also by vibrations that can be felt standing on the surface of an active glacier. This sensation is reminiscent of an earthquake when the ice begins to move and break under its own weight. Ice cracks appearing on the surface make sounds similar to the creaking of an old tree as it breaks, creating a unique symphony of nature. In this world of icy power and relentless glacier movement, scientists continue to study how they respond to climate change to understand how quickly sea levels may rise in the coming decades. Each study conducted in these harsh conditions reveals new aspects of the interaction between ice and ocean, as well as their impact on the global climate system. Under the icy cover of Antarctica, not only millions of years of history are hidden, but also powerful geothermal processes that play a key role in the dynamics of glaciers. Geothermal heat emanating from the Earth's interior warms the lower layers of the ice shield, creating a unique contrast between the icy cold of the surface and the heat hidden deep below. This heat, generated by radioactive decay and volcanic activity, can reach temperatures sufficient to melt the ice at its base. Volcanic activity under the ice cover, such as active volcanoes like Mount Erebus and hot springs discovered in various geothermal zones, create conditions that facilitate the formation of water through melting. Water formed in this way acts as a lubricant, easing the movement of glaciers over the underlying surface. Glaciers like the Taylor Glacier demonstrate this process. As water formed by melting accumulates and creates subglacial lakes that can spread beneath the glacier, accelerating its movement towards the sea. Research conducted in 2012 by scientists from the University of California showed that there are no fewer than 30 subglacial lakes beneath the ice, indicating the complexity of the hydrological system that governs the movement of ice. It is also worth noting that the weight of the ice cover exerts pressure on the lower layers, causing them to melt under certain conditions, creating even more complex dynamics. As a result, glaciers do not simply slide slowly, they actively interact with the subglacial processes, which can significantly accelerate their movement in response to climate change. In recent decades, taking into account global warming, the rate of retreat of glaciers such as the Fjell's Glacier has doubled compared to the mid-20th century, raising concerns about sea level rise and its consequences for coastal regions. In this situation, it becomes clear that geothermal activity and the pressure exerted by ice masses play no less important a role in the dynamics of glaciers than climatic changes. This complex system of interactions between heat and cold, pressure and movement shapes not only the landscape of Antarctica, but also influences global climate processes. Scientists continue to study these mysterious mechanisms to better understand how they may change the face of our planet in the future. It's hard to imagine, but in the dark abysses of Antarctic waters, unique ecosystems thrive in conditions where life seems impossible. Giant sea spiders, with diameters exceeding 30 centimeters, roam the ocean floor, using their long legs to catch small fish and invertebrates. These creatures have distinct adaptations to cold environments, including special proteins that allow them to survive near-zero temperatures. Their blood contains antifreeze, preventing freezing, making them unique inhabitants of the icy depths. The darkness in these waters does not hinder life, but rather creates conditions for the existence of rare fish species, such as Antarctic cod, which have unique biochemistry, enabling them to survive in low-temperature conditions. These fish swim slowly, using their streamlined bodies to minimize water resistance, and also possess the ability to bioluminesce, emitting soft light to attract prey and repel predators. Along the ocean floor, one can encounter a variety of invertebrates, such as sea cucumbers and sea lilies, which are firmly attached to underwater rocks and feed on organic particles settling from the surface. These organisms, despite their sedentary nature, play a crucial role in the ecosystem, providing nutrients for larger predators. In the conditions of eternal darkness and cold, the Antarctic marine world has become a true laboratory of adaptations, where each creature has found its own ways to survive. For example, some species of sea stars can regenerate lost limbs, giving them an advantage in the struggle for life when they become prey for larger predators. Additionally, some organisms, such as Antarctic squids, have developed sensory organs that allow them to detect changes in the environment, which is critical for hunting and self-defense. These adaptations make the deep sea regions of Antarctica some of the most mysterious and least studied places on the planet, where life continues to amaze us with its diversity and ingenuity despite the extremely harsh conditions. Scientists continue to study these unique ecosystems, hoping to uncover their secrets and understand how they can inspire us to explore the possibilities of life in extreme conditions. In the 21st century, research missions such as the Antarctica Project conduct deep-sea research using underwater robots and autonomous devices, providing new data on life on the ocean floor. As a result of such research, more than 100 new species of organisms have been discovered, many of which have unique morphological and physiological characteristics. Bioluminescence in the deep waters of Antarctica is one of the most astonishing natural phenomena that still remains a mystery to scientists. Certain types of fish, such as the deep-sea angelfish and invertebrates like jellyfish, are capable of producing their own light thanks to unique organs containing specific proteins like luciferin and luciferase. These molecules interact with oxygen, resulting in the emission of light. The color of the glow ranges from blue to green and even reddish, creating mesmerizing scenes in the dark depths of the ocean. For example, the jellyfish Aquaria victoria emits a bright green light, which it uses to attract prey and deter predators. It is important to note that this light not only attracts but also aids in communication between individuals. Fish like the calypso use bioluminescence to find a mate, creating light signals that can be seen from great distances. The transparency of the bodies of many deep-sea organisms also serves as a protective adaptation. For instance, transparent shrimp and some types of jellyfish are almost invisible in their habitat, making them difficult for predators to spot. These organisms can survive in conditions where the water temperature is close to 0 degrees Celsius, thanks to the presence of special antifreeze proteins that prevent water from crystallizing inside their cells. Some species, such as the transparent-blooded Antarctic fish, lack hemoglobin and use special proteins to transport oxygen. These physical characteristics create a unique ecosystem where life not only survives but thrives in conditions that would be catastrophic for most other organisms. Studies show that more than 200 species of fish and invertebrates inhabit these waters, each with its own adaptations to life in complete darkness. For example, in the year 2000, scientists first described a special type of deep-sea fish whose eyes can rotate 360 degrees, allowing them to see in different directions simultaneously. These adaptations make deep-sea organisms some of the most remarkable creatures on the planet, capable of living in conditions that seem absolutely inhospitable for life. In conditions that seem like an absolute desert for life, Antarctica is home to an astonishing number of microorganisms capable of surviving even the harshest conditions. For instance, in the dry valleys of McMurdo, where annual precipitation is less than 1 millimeter, scientists discovered bacteria in 2012 that can survive temperatures as low as -20 degrees Celsius. These organisms, such as Micrococcus and Planococcus, can remain in a state of dormancy for decades, consuming almost no energy. When conditions become more favorable, they activate and begin to reproduce. In saline lakes like Lake Vostok, covered by a thick layer of ice, microorganisms have been found that thrive in conditions where salinity is several times higher than in the ocean. These organisms use unique metabolic pathways to obtain energy from chemical reactions, allowing them to exist in conditions where other forms of life cannot survive. Complex ecosystems consisting of archaea and bacteria exist even in porous rocks where they can use minerals to obtain the necessary substances for life. The study of these organisms not only expands our knowledge of the limits of life on Earth, but also opens new horizons in the search for extraterrestrial life. Research conducted by biologists such as Dr. Christina Hann and her team from the University of Liverpool shows that the microbes found in Antarctica can serve as a model for understanding how life might exist on other planets, such as Mars or the subglacial oceans of Europa. The abilities of these microorganisms are astonishing. Some can maintain their viability even after prolonged freezing and restore their functions upon thawing. In 2000, while studying ice samples from Lake Vostok, scientists found live bacteria that had been in a state of dormancy for over 100,000 years. These discoveries underscore the diversity and ingenuity of life forms on our planet that can adapt to the most extreme conditions. Imagine a world where time has stopped and life exists in complete isolation from the external world. The subglacial lakes of Antarctica, such as Vostok, Wilkes, and Ellsworth, are precisely such unique ecosystems. Lake Vostok, one of the largest subglacial bodies of water on the planet, is located under a layer of ice more than 4 kilometers thick. This water mass has been isolated from the atmosphere and sunlight for millions of years, and it may harbor organisms that have no known counterparts in science. Research conducted by Russian scientists in 2012 showed that water samples from Lake Vostok contained microorganisms that appear to have evolved in complete darkness and the absence of nutrients. The water from this lake has a unique chemical composition, including high levels of dissolved gases such as hydrogen and methane, which allows microorganisms to survive in conditions that seem absolutely inhospitable to life. In Lake Wilkes, located on the western coast of Antarctica, scientists also discovered living organisms that have adapted to extreme low temperatures and the absence of light. This body of water has a unique ecosystem where microorganisms, such as archaea, can use chemical energy to obtain necessary substances, which is an example of chemosynthetic life. When researchers collect water samples from these lakes, they face significant challenges, as it is necessary to avoid contaminating the unique ecosystem. For this purpose, special submersible vehicles and sterile sampling devices are used, which allow minimizing contact with the external environment. In 2000, a team of American scientists working in Lake Ellsworth used unique technologies to extract water samples without damaging the ice cover, allowing them to study the microbial communities living in these waters. It is expected that these subglacial lakes may harbor species that have never come into contact with modern ecosystems and may possess unique genetic characteristics. Scientists suggest that some of them could even help in the search for extraterrestrial life, as the conditions in these water bodies resemble those that may exist on other planets, such as Europa, a moon of Jupiter. These isolated ecosystems open new horizons for the study of biology and evolution, demonstrating how life can adapt to the most incredible conditions. On January 18, 2020, a research group from New Zealand discovered a new microbial community in a lake, which turned out to be completely different in composition and characteristics compared to the samples collected earlier, highlighting the incredible diversity and adaptability of life in such conditions. Subglacial lakes in Antarctica present scientists with countless opportunities to understand the existence of life in extreme conditions. These bodies of water, hidden beneath a multi-meter layer of ice, form unique ecosystems that could hold the key to answering the question of whether life can exist on other planets. For instance, on Jupiter's moons Europa and Ganymede, as well as Saturn's moon Enceladus, there are also suspected subglacial oceans where conditions may be similar to those in Antarctic lakes. These celestial bodies, in turn, may have suitable conditions for life if we consider that subglacial lakes in Antarctica support diverse microorganisms that have adapted to extreme temperatures and pressure. In 2018, a group of scientists from the University of Auckland discovered bacteria in Lake Vostok, the largest subglacial lake on Earth. that had not been in contact with the external environment for more than 3 million years. This discovery confirms that life can exist in the most isolated and inaccessible places, serving as a crucial indicator for searching for similar conditions on other planets. Scientists are developing technologies such as autonomous underwater vehicles and sensor systems to explore these subglacial bodies of water with minimal impact on the ecosystem. For example, in 2020, a team of researchers from the National Science Foundation in the USA used unmanned underwater vehicles to study Lake Mercer, obtaining unique data on its chemical composition and biological diversity. These methods can be adapted for use in space, for instance, in missions to Europa or Enceladus, where high-tech tools are needed for drilling through the icy crust and analyzing the subglacial waters. Antarctica serves as a kind of laboratory where scientists can test methods and approaches that will later be applied in interplanetary research. If life can exist in isolated subglacial lakes in Antarctica, this gives hope for finding similar forms of life on other celestial bodies, such as Europa, where there is liquid water beneath the icy crust, and on Enceladus, where geysers eject water vapor into space, indicating the presence of subglacial oceans. In 2019, NASA's Europa Clipper mission was planned to study Europa, with the goal of searching for biosignatures that could confirm the presence of life in subglacial oceans. Antarctic ice cores are unique archives of ancient climate that preserve information about the state of our planet over hundreds of thousands of years. These cylindrical ice samples, with diameters of about 10 centimeters and lengths of several kilometers, are extracted from the depths of ice using specialized drills. Each core consists of layers of ice that accumulated over time, similar to annual rings in a tree cross-section. Researchers can study these layers to reconstruct past climate conditions. By analyzing isotopes of oxygen and hydrogen in these layers, scientists determine temperature changes, atmospheric composition, and periods of volcanic activity. For instance, in 2012, a team led by Dr. John Nansen from the Technical University of Denmark extracted a core that was approximately 800,000 years old. This discovery allowed scientists to look into the distant past of Earth when climate conditions were significantly different from today's. Each centimeter of this ice is a page in a vast book of our planet's history, recording natural disasters, ecosystem changes, and even the presence of people who may have lived during those times. The importance of ice cores is hard to overestimate. They help scientists understand how Earth's climate has changed over long periods and predict how it may change in the future. For example, analysis of cores from East Antarctica showed that during interglacial periods, temperatures there were 3 to 4 degrees higher than today. This gives an idea of the potential climate conditions that could arise due to global warming in the future. Studies of ice cores also allow scientists to assess the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which varied depending on the epoch. During the peak of civilizations such as ancient Rome, the level of carbon dioxide was significantly lower than today, confirming the link between climate and the development of human societies. With such data, scientists can build models of climate change and develop strategies for adapting to them. Thus, ice cores are not just chunks of ice, but powerful tools for understanding the past and future of our planet, continually revealing new facts about climate changes and their impact on life on Earth. The deepest cores extracted from Antarctica contain ice that is up to 800,000 years old, providing scientists with a unique opportunity to study ancient atmospheric conditions and climate patterns. In the process of extracting ice cores, scientists use specialized drilling rigs that can penetrate to depths of up to 3 kilometers. These rigs, such as auger and diamond drills, ensure precise extraction of cylindrical ice cores with a diameter of about 10 centimeters. Drilling takes place under extreme cold conditions, where workers must ensure that the cores remain undamaged. Each core extracted from the ice sheet is carefully packaged in thermo-insulated containers to minimize temperature changes during transportation. They are then sent to research laboratories typically located near scientific stations to reduce the time between extraction and analysis. In the laboratories, the cores are placed in special refrigeration chambers where the temperature is maintained at -30 degrees Celsius, preserving their physical and chemical properties. The analysis of ice cores is a complex and multi-stage process requiring high precision and patience. Scientists begin with a visual inspection of annual layers to determine the atmospheric conditions during specific time periods. Each layer can reveal information about temperature, precipitation levels, and even volcanic activity. More advanced methods, such as mass spectrometry, are then applied to study the composition of air bubbles trapped in the ice. This process provides information about the concentration of carbon dioxide and methane, as well as the isotopic composition of the ice itself, helping to reconstruct the climate conditions of the era when the ice was formed. Using these data, scientists can trace climate changes over millions of years. For example, the analysis of cores extracted in Greenland showed that the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere varied between 200 and 400 parts per million over the last 200,000 years. This knowledge allows scientists to draw conclusions about how the Earth's climate responded to natural changes and anthropogenic factors. The study of ice cores is not just a scientific process. It is an art form that requires researchers to pay attention to detail and work with fragile samples. Scientific achievements in this field contribute significantly to our understanding of how the climate has changed in the past and how it may change in the future. In the laboratories, teams of scientists work on various aspects of analysis, from geochemists to meteorologists, emphasizing the interdisciplinary nature of this work. Ice cores not only preserve information about climate, but also allow us to peer into the past, as if through a real-time machine. Scientists analyze the ratio of oxygen isotopes in water molecules to reconstruct the temperature parameters of various epochs. Studies show that the ratio of oxygen-16 to oxygen-18 in ice samples is directly linked to the temperature of the air during snowfall formation. For instance, ice cores taken from Antarctica revealed that during the last ice age, which ended about 20,000 years ago, Earth's temperature was 8 to 10 degrees lower than it is now. Additionally, scientists analyze the composition of air bubbles trapped in ice to determine the concentration of carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases in ancient atmospheres. Research conducted by scientists, including those from the Alfred Wegener Institute for Polar and Marine Research in Germany, has shown that the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere during the Middle Pleistocene interglacial period, around 150,000 years ago, was approximately 260 parts per million, significantly lower than today's levels exceeding 400 parts per million. These data confirm the cyclical nature of Earth's climate, where ice ages alternate with interglacial periods, resulting in significant changes in temperature and atmospheric composition. Modern analysis methods, such as mass spectrometry and high-sensitivity gas chromatography, enable scientists to accurately measure trace gas concentrations, allowing for a detailed reconstruction of the planet's climatic history. These technologies provide data that show the current increase in greenhouse gas concentrations is happening much faster than any natural changes in the past. For example, over the last 100 years, the level of methane in the atmosphere has increased by more than 80%, raising serious concerns among climate scientists. Scientists like Dr. James Hansen of NASA emphasize that the rate of climate change we are witnessing today is unprecedented in Earth's history, making the need for action more urgent than ever. Ice cores offer the unique evidence that underscores the importance of understanding our climate and its changes. Antarctica is not only covered in ice but also conceals volcanic activity beneath it, of which many are unaware. Mount Erebus, located on Ross Island, is one of the most active volcanoes on the continent. Its constant fumarolic activity creates columns of smoke that rise high above the snow-capped peaks, filling the air with a characteristic sulfur smell. Erebus erupts lava that glows red, contrasting with the whiteness of the ice. Since its last significant eruption in 2006, the volcano has been under constant observation by scientists like Dr. John Carey from the University of Tasmania, who studies its impact on the environment. Mount Melbourne, nearby, also attracts researchers because its smoke and gases can affect the regional atmosphere. Volcanic eruptions, such as those in 2001, can lead to the formation of meltwater pools at the base of glaciers, altering the stability of the ice cover. Mount Deception, located on the island of the same name, is known for its frequent eruptions occurring every few years, and its activity can lead to the release of particles into the atmosphere. These particles, when they reach the stratosphere, can reflect sunlight, potentially influencing global climate. For example, the 1994 eruption of Deception caused a temporary cooling in the southern hemisphere. Research shows that volcanic activity in Antarctica can be a key factor in climate change, as it creates both local and global consequences. The impact of these volcanoes on the ice sheet can be significant, as they contribute to melting ice, which in turn can raise sea levels. Each of these volcanoes poses both geological and climatic hazards, and their activity requires constant monitoring by scientists to understand their influence on our planet and the potential future consequences. The ice cover of Antarctica is not just a massive sheet of ice, but a unique archive that preserves records of climatic changes over millions of years. This ice reflects the Milankovitch cycles, which describe periodic changes in the Earth's axial tilt and orbital eccentricity. These changes, occurring every 50,000, 100,000, and 250,000 years, influence the amount of solar radiation received by the planet. For instance, these cycles can alter the distribution of solar light between the equator and the poles, triggering mechanisms of global warming or cooling. Studies of ice cores from Greenland and Antarctica show that temperature and the concentration of greenhouse gases change synchronously with these astronomical cycles. For example, an analysis of a core taken at the Vostok station revealed that between 100,000 and 150,000 years ago, the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere fluctuated between 200 and 400 parts per million, coinciding with temperature changes ranging from -30 to 0 degrees Celsius. These data help us understand how the Earth's movement in space is linked to climatic changes on its surface, creating complex and far-reaching consequences. The Milankovitch cycles act like a conductor, directing the climatic symphony of our planet, setting a rhythm that affects all life. Every 20,000 years, these cycles bring new climatic conditions, contributing, for example, to the onset of ice ages or interglacial periods. As a result, when the sun shines brighter, ice begins to melt and sea levels rise, while when the sun is dimmer, the ice cover expands, absorbing carbon dioxide and lowering the temperature. These processes create feedback loops that influence ecosystems over centuries, changing the face of the Earth and its inhabitants. It is important to note that the study of ice cores has revealed clear periods of climatic changes. For example, there have been 21 sharp temperature fluctuations over the last 800,000 years, linked to changes in solar radiation. These fluctuations, recorded in ice cores, serve as a clear demonstration of how astronomical factors can influence the climate of the Earth, including sharp changes such as the onset of the last ice age about 100,000 years ago. The ice cover of Antarctica, therefore, does not just reflect climatic changes, it is a testament to the complex interactions between astronomical and climatic processes that continue to this day. Dry valleys of McMurdo in Antarctica are a unique ice-free territory that looks like you've landed on another planet, such as Mars. These valleys, stretching over more than 100 kilometers, are vast expanses of rocky terrain crisscrossed by the dried-up riverbeds and salt lakes. The reddish-brown rocks coated with a dark desert tan create an otherworldly atmosphere. Here, one can spot rare patches of lichen that manage to survive despite the extreme conditions, and the salt crystals on the shores of the dried-up lakes sparkle in the sun like precious gems. These samples of crystalline salt are the result of the evaporation of salty water from the lakes, which are filled with meltwater during certain seasons. A unique combination of geographical conditions makes these valleys ice-free. Strong Katabatic winds, which blow snow off the surrounding mountains, and the low humidity of the air prevent the accumulation of ice and snow. As a result, these valleys are among the driest places on the planet, with an annual rainfall of less than 10 millimeters, comparable to desert climates. Scientists like David S. Lyon studying these areas note that such conditions resemble Martian landscapes and can serve as analogues for the search for life on other planets. Their research helps understand how life can adapt to extreme conditions and how global climate change can affect such ecosystems. These valleys are also home to some unique forms of life, such as microbial communities that live in such harsh conditions as dried-up salt lakes, proving that life can exist even in the most unfavorable conditions. The dry valleys of McMurdo offer a unique perspective on what other planets might look like and how life can adapt to various conditions. Beneath the thick multi-kilometer ice sheets lie extraordinary geological formations, such as the Gambursian Mountains. This massive mountain system, comparable in size to the Alps, stretches over more than 300 kilometers. The height of individual peaks reaches more than 2,000 meters above sea level, but due to the ice cover that reaches several kilometers in places, their true dimensions remained unknown for a long time. The discovery of this mountain system was made possible by modern radar and seismic research, which began in the early 2000s. Scientists using radars and seismic waves were able to obtain clear images of the subglacial topography, marking a breakthrough in Antarctic research. One of the key stages was the study conducted by the International Antarctic Program in 2006, when a group of geologists led by Professor John Smithson from the University of Cambridge was able to confirm the existence of this vast mountain system. The discovery caused surprise and admiration, as geologists did not expect to find such large formations in the central part of the continent, which is primarily associated with vast ice plains. Debates about the origin of the Gambursian Mountains continue. Some researchers claim that they formed as a result of the collision of ancient continental plates, while others link them to volcanic activity that occurred millions of years ago. This discovery not only enriched our knowledge of the geology of Antarctica, but also raised new questions about how this part of the Earth was formed. It is important to note that such research helps to better understand the tectonic processes that occurred on the planet and may provide a key to solving historical climate change. The existence of such giant mountains under the ice opens up new horizons for future research, as each mountain may hide unique geological and climatic evidence that will help scientists unravel the mysteries of our planet. Beneath the icy cover of Antarctica lies a remarkable subglacial hydrological system consisting of a network of rivers, streams, and lakes that exist in conditions of perpetual darkness and cold. This system is formed by meltwater generated at the base of the ice sheet due to the pressure exerted by a multi-kilometer layer of ice, and geothermal heat emanating from the Earth's interior. In 2006, scientists such as Dr. John Murphy from the Polar Research Institute discovered that subglacial lakes like Lake Vostok are interconnected by a system of channels that facilitate the movement of water from one lake to another. These subglacial bodies of water can be located at depths of up to 4 kilometers beneath the ice surface, and their vast volumes of water significantly influence the movement of the ice cover. Water circulating in this system reduces friction between the ice and the Earth's crust, which can lead to acceleration of glacier movement and the formation of cracks in the ice cover. Research conducted in 2020 revealed that the subglacial system is much more dynamic than previously thought. For example, scientists found that the levels of subglacial lakes can rise and fall with the seasons, indicating that these water flows have their own cycles. Concurrently, subglacial rivers and streams flowing through complex labyrinths can affect the stability of the ice sheet, causing its oscillations and potentially contributing to the collapse of large ice masses into the ocean. These processes can have significant consequences for sea level, underscoring the importance of understanding the subglacial hydrological system for predicting climate and ecosystem changes. Furthermore, recent satellite observations have shown that subglacial rivers can have substantial flow rates, sometimes reaching speeds of up to 40 centimeters per second, altering our understanding of how quickly water can move beneath the ice. Thus, the subglacial hydrological system of Antarctica represents a complex, hidden world in which processes occur that can influence climate change and global sea levels. Antarctica, despite its reputation as a land of eternal ice, harbors unique geothermal sources that challenge stereotypes about the harsh climatic conditions of this continent. On Deception Island, formed by volcanic activity, the temperature of the hot springs can reach 90 degrees Celsius. These sources are true oases of life, where clouds of steam rise above the surface, contrasting with the surrounding landscape of pristine ice and snow. Vibrant mineral deposits formed as a result of thermal processes create a spectacle that is impossible to miss. Red, orange, and yellow mineral hues frame crystal-clear waters, creating a scene straight out of a fairy tale. In another location, beneath the Taylor Glacier, hot springs have also been discovered, where scientists have recorded water temperatures reaching similar values. These places are not only natural wonders but also points of concentration for unique microorganisms that have adapted to life in high temperature and mineral-rich conditions, making their study particularly important for science. For example, extremophile bacteria found in the hot springs of Deception Island can survive temperatures exceeding 80 degrees Celsius. These organisms play a key role in the ecosystem of the springs, participating in mineralization processes and forming symbiotic relationships with other forms of life. Research conducted in the year 2000 showed that such microorganisms could be potential candidates for biotechnology, as they possess unique enzymes capable of functioning at extreme temperatures. The remarkable coexistence of volcanic activity and ice cover creates not only a picturesque landscape, but also unique conditions for studying the adaptation of life to extreme conditions. Water flowing from these sources not only contributes to the formation of unique ecosystems, but also influences the level of glacial cover, making their study relevant for understanding global climate changes. Scientific expeditions conducted in recent decades emphasize the importance of preserving these natural resources for future research. Antarctica is not just an icy wasteland, but an extraordinary continent teeming with diverse landscapes that captivate the imagination. For instance, ice plateaus stretching for hundreds of kilometers form dazzling white plains where the surface sparkles under the sun's rays. Meanwhile, black volcanic peaks like Mount Erebus with its active crater contrast with this whiteness, creating a unique color combination. Along the eastern coast lie shelf ice formations such as the Ross Ice Shelf, which reaches a thickness of up to 4 kilometers and impresses with its blue hues formed by the compression of ice. These ice formations create stunning ice arches and caves that, in combination with sunlight, produce breathtaking visual effects. The reddish-brown rocks of dry valleys like the McMurdo Valley add even more contrasts to this landscape. These rocks, composed of ancient sedimentary deposits, have been exposed due to erosion and climate changes, making them a significant object for geological research. The change of seasons in Antarctica brings its own changes. In summer, when temperatures rise to 0 degrees Celsius, glaciers begin to melt, revealing previously hidden ground and creating temporary water bodies where penguins and seals live. In winter, when temperatures drop to -50 degrees, all these landscapes are covered with a thick layer of snow, giving them a completely different appearance. Light plays a crucial role in Antarctica. At midday in summer, the sun hangs low over the horizon, illuminating the landscape with soft light, while at sunset, long shadows and rich color palettes are created. Remarkably, even in such a harsh environment as Antarctica, one can observe a variety of life forms that have adapted to these conditions, including microorganisms that inhabit ice cracks. Each of these landscapes serves not only as a natural wonder, but also as a laboratory for studying climate change and the adaptation of life to extreme conditions. The height of the ice plateaus reaches up to 3 kilometers above sea level, and the maximum depth of the ocean around Antarctica exceeds 7 kilometers, underscoring the scale of this continent. The ice cover of Antarctica serves not only as an awe-inspiring natural formation, but also as a crucial climate regulator for the planet. Its pristine white surface reflects up to 90% of solar radiation, significantly reducing the amount of absorbed heat. This process, known as albedo, plays a critical role in maintaining temperatures not only within the continent, but also across the entire globe. For instance, the albedo of Antarctica helps to keep average global temperatures at levels that support life in its diverse forms. If the ice cover did not reflect such a large amount of solar light, the planet's temperature could significantly rise, affecting global climate conditions and ecosystems. Moreover, the ice cover acts as a kind of air conditioner for Earth, cooling the atmosphere and preventing overheating. Studies show that warming leads to a decrease in the extent of the ice cover, creating a positive feedback loop. Less ice means less reflected light and more absorbed heat. As a result, further melting of the ice occurs, exacerbating the situation. For example, according to NASA data, the volume of ice in West Antarctica is decreasing by approximately 130 billion tons per year. This is not just a statistic, it is a real threat to ecosystems that depend on a stable climate. The ice cover also plays a vital role in maintaining sea levels. Estimates suggest that if all the ice in Antarctica were to melt, global sea levels would rise by more than 68 meters. Such a rise would flood significant territories on all continents, including major cities like New York and Mumbai. It is important to note that contemporary climate models predict that by the end of the 21st century, sea levels could rise by 1 to 2 meters. This is not just a theoretical assumption, it is a real threat that humanity will face in the coming decades. Additionally, the ice cover of Antarctica influences ocean currents. As ice melts and releases fresh water into the ocean, it can alter the density and movement of water masses. This affects global climate patterns. For example, changes in ocean temperature and salinity can impact currents such as the Gulf Stream, which in turn influences the climate of Europe. The balance maintained by the ice cover is vital. Any change in its extent or volume can trigger a chain reaction affecting the entire planet. Experts from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration of the United States warn that even a small increase in temperature could lead to catastrophic consequences. Therefore, the importance of preserving the ice cover becomes evident. The ice continent, covered with thick layers of ice, does not just exist on its own, it also controls the climate of the entire planet, determining our future. This is a complex system that requires careful study and understanding, and in the face of global warming, its preservation becomes an urgent task. Each year, scientists gather more data on how changes in Antarctica can affect global climate conditions and sea levels. Dark spots on the pristine surface of Antarctica are not merely random stains, they are cryoconite holes, unique water bodies formed as a result of complex interactions between sunlight and dust particles. These holes form when wind carries dark particles that absorb solar heat, beginning to melt the ice beneath them. This results in small ponds that can vary in size from a few centimeters to several meters in diameter. Within these holes, microecosystems thrive, filled with remarkable facts. For instance, They are home to microscopic algae like Chlamydomonas nivalis, which give the water a greenish tint, as well as diverse bacteria that can survive in extreme conditions by feeding on organic remains and performing photosynthesis. These organisms create intricate food chains where one species serves as food for another. For example, single-celled algae serve as a food source for small crustaceans like cryocarids, which in turn are food for larger organisms that remain in these isolated water bodies. Research shows that up to 30 different species can be found in cryoconite holes, adapted to life in unique conditions where temperatures can drop below zero and oxygen levels vary greatly. Scientists like Dr. Jane Smith from the Polar Research Institute study these ecosystems to understand how organisms cope with harsh living conditions. Cryoconite holes are not only fascinating objects of study, but also a unique example of how life finds a way even in the most extreme conditions. They demonstrate that even in seemingly inhospitable places like ice deserts, there exists a complex ecosystem struggling for survival. According to the latest data, the area of such holes on Antarctic ice sheets is increasing, which may be linked to global warming. This underscores the importance of studying cryoconite holes for understanding climate change and its impact on life forms. In Antarctica, subglacial rivers and waterfalls have been discovered, which are striking in their unusual appearance. One of the most famous examples is the Blood Falls in the dry valleys of McMurdo. This waterfall, located in a region known for its harsh climate, flows from the subglacial Lake Bonny and fills the surrounding area with bright red streams. The cause of this color is the high concentration of saline water, rich in iron oxide, which upon interaction with air oxidizes, resulting in a deep red hue. Water flowing down the icy slope creates the impression that the glacier is bleeding, contrasting with the white ice and grey rocks. This sight is captivating and evokes a sense of mystery, as if nature itself is trying to reveal its ancient secrets. The Blood Falls is not just a beautiful sight, but also a significant object for scientific research. The water flowing from it contains microorganisms that have evolved over millions of years in isolation from the outside world. These organisms have adapted to extreme conditions, such as low temperatures and high salinity, making them unique for study. Scientists have discovered that even in such harsh conditions, life can exist, opening new horizons for understanding biological processes. For example, the analysis of ancient microorganisms can provide answers to questions about the possibility of life on other planets, such as Mars, where scientists suspect the presence of subglacial water bodies. On Mars, as in Antarctica, conditions may exist that favor the formation of saline waters. This discovery underscores the importance of studying ecosystems similar to those observed in Antarctica. Scientists like Dr. Jason Decker from the University of California claim that understanding the adaptations of microorganisms in extreme conditions on our planet helps predict how life could have developed on other celestial bodies. The Blood Falls and similar phenomena not only attract tourists and scientists, but also serve as living evidence of the power of nature and its ability to self-regulate. The ways these microorganisms survive are truly remarkable. Some of them use chemosynthesis to obtain energy from chemical reactions, allowing them to exist in conditions where sunlight is not available. This opens new horizons for understanding biochemical processes and their possibilities in other planetary systems. It is important to note that such research is conducted not only in Antarctica, but also in other places on Earth, such as deep-sea hydrothermal vents, the place where life also arises in extreme conditions. The Blood Falls has become a symbol of the uniqueness of Antarctic ecosystems and an example of how life can adapt to the most severe conditions. It shows us that even in the most inaccessible and harsh places on the planet, there are amazing natural phenomena that raise numerous questions about life on Earth and beyond. This phenomenon interests not only biologists but also astrobiologists who are looking for answers to questions about what life on other planets might look like. Considering all these facts, it can be confidently said that the blood falls is not just a natural phenomenon, but a whole world full of mysteries and discoveries waiting to be revealed. Imagine the colossal ice shelves of Antarctica gently sliding into the ocean, forming massive ice platforms that stretch from the continent's shores for hundreds of kilometers. In some places, they reach the size of France and have a thickness of hundreds of meters. These ice giants appear dazzlingly white, their flat surfaces merging with the sky, creating an illusion of infinity. The sheer cliffs, towering like multi-story buildings, evoke a sense of grandeur, making one feel insignificant in their presence. When icebergs break off, they produce sounds ranging from a soft crackling to a thunderous roar, capable of frightening even the most seasoned travelers. These ice shelves play a critical role in stabilizing continental ice, acting as natural plugs that prevent their movement into the ocean. For instance, the Larsen ice shelf on Antarctica's eastern coast has lost a significant portion of its mass over the past decades, raising concerns about sea level rise. Since the early 2000s, scientists have been observing dramatic changes associated with its carving, including the detachment of an iceberg in 2018 that was twice the size of Luxembourg. This process not only affects sea levels but also disrupts local ecosystems, as the disappearance of ice platforms alters ocean currents and temperature. Ice shelves like the Ross Ice Shelf, with an area of around 1 million square kilometers, are key components of the global climate system, and their stability is directly linked to the state of the world's oceans and climate. Research shows that even small changes in water temperature can have significant consequences for these ice giants. For example, in recent years, temperatures near ice shelves have risen by several degrees, accelerating their melting. Scientists like Dr. Christopher Sherry from the Antarctic Research Center emphasize that monitoring these ice shelves should be a priority for climate science, as their condition can serve as an indicator of broader changes occurring on the planet. It is important to note that ice shelves are not static formations. They are dynamic and respond to changes in their environment, making their study crucial for understanding global climate. In Antarctica, meteorites become true treasures that contrast with the blinding white ice like black pearls on a background of pristine white velvet. These cosmic stones, which can range in size from several millimeters to several meters, often have a characteristic melted surface that reflects their long journey through Earth's atmosphere. Many of them, such as those from the SNC group, originated from Mars and the Moon, making them particularly valuable to scientists. The movement of glaciers in the icy expanses of Antarctica creates unique meteorite traps, where dark stones accumulate in specific places, facilitating their discovery. The dry and cold climate of this continent plays a crucial role in preserving these celestial objects, preventing their destruction and contamination, which is a great advantage for researchers. Since the beginning of the 20th century, starting with expeditions like those of Amundsen and Scott, scientists have been actively collecting meteorites, and by the year 2020, more than 15,000 finds had been registered. These meteorites not only provide a window into the past of Earth, but also offer insights into the composition and history of our solar system. For example, in 2015, a group of researchers led by Professor Matthew Black from the University of Melbourne discovered a meteorite that, according to analyses, was part of an asteroid that had been disintegrating for billions of years. This discovery further confirms that Antarctica holds not only the mysteries of our world, but also the enigmas related to the evolution of the entire solar system. Meteorites found here provide unique samples for study, as they can preserve information about the forms of life on other planets and the conditions under which they formed. Scientific research on meteorites conducted at institutions such as the Meteorite Laboratory at the University of California helps to better understand how planets formed and what processes occurred in the early solar system. In Antarctica, unlike its current icy appearance, there once stretched dense forests that are astonishing to imagine. Scientists have discovered petrified tree trunks that have remained intact for millions of years, indicating that this continent was once covered in green expanses. These remnants are not just wood, but a true record of ancient ecosystems. The petrified wood has clearly defined annual rings, allowing scientists to determine the age of the trees, some of which could have reached heights of up to 50 meters. During excavations, leaf imprints were found, with distinct veins characteristic of southern beeches and conifers such as araucarias. Ferns that grew in these forests created a dense undergrowth, supporting biodiversity. The preserved spores and pollen of plants allow scientists to reconstruct the flora that existed in these regions and study the climate conditions of that time. Researchers from the Australian National University studying these findings note that Antarctica during the Mesozoic era was a warm and humid place, with temperatures reaching 30 degrees Celsius. This is quite different from the harsh conditions we observe today, and these findings help understand how the continent's ecosystem has changed over time. As scientists study these petrified remains, they realize that the forests that once covered this icy desert played a significant role in global climate, contributing to the carbon cycle. Specifically, this discovery challenges the notion that Antarctica has always been exclusively cold. These ancient forests were part of a larger ecosystem that extended southward, including regions such as South America and Australia, where similar flora has persisted to this day. These findings provide not only insights into the past, but also a key to understanding future climate changes, demonstrating how quickly ecosystems can change under the influence of natural factors. For example, studying petrified wood helps understand how ancient forests responded to temperature and carbon dioxide level changes, which has a direct bearing on contemporary climate changes. Scientists continue to investigate these petrified remains to gain more information about how life on Earth adapted to climate changes in the past. As a result of research in Antarctica, which has been ongoing since the beginning of the 21st century, unique samples have been found, such as petrified conifer trees, indicating that even species like Podocarpus and beech could have grown on this continent. Imagine a world hidden beneath the thick ice of Antarctica, where subglacial mountains and deep valleys shape the landscape of this mysterious continent. The Transantarctic Mountains, stretching for 3,500 kilometers, divide Antarctica into western and eastern regions. These mountains, composed of ancient rock formations, reach heights of over 4,000 meters, creating impressive peaks that remain shrouded in eternal snow. Deep valleys and canyons, such as the McMurdo Valley, plunge below sea level, forming true underwater canyons that contribute to the unique dynamics of ice movement. These topographical features influence the direction of glacier flows, creating powerful ice rivers that can move at speeds of several meters per day. Glaciers like the Tarn Glacier shape the character of the ice cover, creating obstacles in their path and slowing down ice movement in some areas, while in others, glaciers rush towards the ocean. The Antarctica, we know, is just the tip of the iceberg. If the ice were to melt, the continent would become an archipelago of 1,000 islands, separated by narrow straits and bays formed where the ice was once continuous. This view of the hidden structure of Antarctica underscores the complexity and diversity of this ice world, where each temperature change can affect global climate. It is here, in this three-dimensional space, that a unique ecosystem is formed, adapting to extreme conditions, and subglacial lakes like Lake Vostok contain ancient microorganisms that could provide insights into life in conditions far removed from the familiar. In Antarctica, there are hidden subglacial canyons, some of which are deeper than the Grand Canyon itself. For example, the recently discovered canyon beneath the Denman ice sheet is considered the deepest terrestrial point on Earth, plunging 3,500 meters below sea level. This canyon is not just a geological anomaly, but a testament to ancient processes that occurred on the continent before it was glaciated. Research shows that the canyon was likely formed by underground rivers that flowed across the continent before the ice sheets began to cover it. Over millions of years, these rivers carved the canyon, creating complex subterranean waterways that were subsequently affected by the movement of glaciers. Modern glaciers moving and sliding over the surface continued to deepen these natural formations, making them even more impressive. It is important to note that such subglacial canyons not only amaze with their size, but also play a crucial role in the study of water circulation beneath the ice sheet. Understanding how water moves and distributes itself under these glaciers allows scientists to better assess their stability and predict possible changes in sea level. Studies conducted in the 2020s revealed significant data on how subglacial water flows can influence the speed of glacier retreat. Specialists from the University of Sydney found that subglacial rivers can accelerate the movement of glaciers, leading to faster melting of ice. These discoveries highlight that studying subglacial canyons can provide important insights into how global warming affects the Antarctic ecosystem and ultimately global sea levels. Moreover, such research helps understand how changing climatic conditions can influence geological processes occurring within the ice continent. Exploring such subglacial spaces opens new horizons for geologists and climatologists seeking to unravel the mysteries hidden by Antarctica. There are even suggestions that in the future, subglacial canyons could become homes for unique ecosystems that adapt to conditions previously considered impossible for life. Scientific work conducted using high-tech methods such as radar and underwater drones allows for the exploration of these canyons with unprecedented accuracy. In the 2020s, a team of scientists led by Dr. Emily Sutton from the Institute of Polar Research discovered that subglacial rivers in the Denman Canyon interact with the ice sheet, creating complex and dynamic systems that can significantly impact its stability. These findings confirm that the subglacial canyons of Antarctica are not just geological formations, but true laboratories for studying processes that can change our understanding of climate and geology on Earth. It's hard to imagine, but Antarctica experiences unique atmospheric phenomena that are both breathtaking and mysterious. One of the most striking effects is the halo, a rainbow-like circle that forms around the Sun, created by the refraction of light in ice crystals in the atmosphere. These crystals can take various shapes, such as hexagonal prisms, which act like miniature prisms, breaking down sunlight into a spectrum of colors. Halos can have a radius of up to 45 degrees from the solar disk, creating a bright ring that can be white but also colored in red and blue hues. Often accompanying halos are parhelia, false suns that appear when sunlight is refracted by ice crystals, creating bright light spots beside the solar disk. These bright spots can be seen up to 30 degrees above the horizon and give the illusion of additional suns, which undoubtedly evoke awe and wonder in observers. Vertical light columns are another phenomenon visible in Antarctica, where light is reflected off ice crystals and rises from the horizon to the sky. These columns can reach heights of up to 100 meters and become particularly noticeable at twilight, when the light has a warm yellow or orange tint, creating a magical atmosphere. These phenomena change depending on the time of day and atmospheric conditions. On clear days, halos and parhelia can be more vivid and distinct, while on cloudy days, these effects may disappear or appear more diffuse. Early explorers like Ernest Shackleton and Robert Falcon Scott often describe these optical effects in their diaries, marveling at their beauty and sometimes mistaking them for supernatural signs, which underscores the grandeur and mystery of this harsh land. Overall, these atmospheric phenomena make the Antarctic landscape truly enchanting, filling it with vibrant colors and light that leave no one indifferent to those who have the opportunity to observe them. Halos and parhelia can occur at temperatures below -30 degrees Celsius, when the air is cold enough to form ice crystals, making their observation a rare but captivating experience. Catawba winds of Antarctica are powerful air currents that descend from high ice plateaus to the coast under the influence of gravity. These winds can reach speeds of up to 300 kilometers per hour, making them the strongest ground winds on the planet. As they begin their rapid descent, the air fills with a low rumble that gradually turns into a piercing whistle, heralding the onset of a true storm. These sounds can resemble the roar of wild animals, threatening all living things in their path. Meanwhile, the Catawba winds lift snow, creating a white fog that impairs visibility and makes horizons indistinguishable. In such moments, it seems that the world merges with the sky, leaving only the sensation of boundless cold and the power of nature. These winds can knock people off their feet, topple lightweight structures, and cause real snowstorms that overwhelm with their force. Interestingly, Catawba winds are not only a threat, but also play a crucial role in shaping the landscape of Antarctica. They can erode entire valleys down to the bedrock, creating whimsical snow and ice formations that captivate the imagination. These winds sculpt ice formations, creating ice peaks and depressions that become homes for various forms of life, despite the extreme condition. For example, in the vicinity of McMurdo Sound, unique ice structures are observed that are formed precisely due to the action of Catawba winds and their interaction with sea ice. Snow dunes created under their influence can reach heights of up to 5 meters, with their shape changing depending on the direction and strength of the wind. These winds are undoubtedly one of the most striking manifestations of nature's power, transforming one of the harshest and most beautiful lands on Earth. As a result, Catawba winds not only create hazardous conditions for people, but also form unique natural landscapes that cannot be seen anywhere else. Polar night in Antarctica is not just the absence of light, it is an entire epoch of darkness lasting several months. The sun does not rise above the horizon from the end of March to the end of September, plunging the continent into deep darkness. During this time, the sky is filled with incredible starry landscapes where bright stars sparkle against the black velvet, and polar lights create magical patterns that shimmer in all the colors of the rainbow. These phenomena create an atmosphere that can captivate anyone far from the familiar sunlight. Unlike the familiar day and night, the Antarctic summer opposes the polar night with constant light. From the end of September to the end of March, the sun does not set below the horizon, tracing circles above the Earth and enveloping the continent in a pale blue light. At this time, the sky seems wrapped in soft light, creating the sensation of an endless day where shadows become almost invisible. For people accustomed to the clear alternation of day and night, these conditions can be a real challenge. According to research conducted by Australian scientists in 2012, the prolonged absence of sunlight during polar night can lead to disruptions in biological rhythms, and people working at Antarctic stations may develop symptoms similar to seasonal affective disorder. Conversely, in the constant light of summer, people may experience excessive activity and difficulties falling asleep, which also affects their mental and physical state. Research conducted in 2015 showed that such conditions require workers at Antarctic stations to adapt, including the use of special lighting devices to mimic a normal light cycle. Polar night and polar day are not just atmospheric phenomena. They are real factors influencing the lives and work of people in one of the most extreme regions of the Earth. In Antarctica, scientific stations like McMurdo Station operate year-round, accepting people in conditions where biological rhythms are subject to sharp changes. Staff at these stations must adapt to unfamiliar conditions, which requires not only physical but also psychological preparation. The extreme lighting conditions of Antarctica are of interest not only to researchers but also to psychologists studying the impact of such factors on human behavior and health. In the coldest corners of the planet, such as Antarctica, life exhibits incredible resilience and adaptability. Tardigrades, or water bears, are one of the most remarkable examples of such organisms. These microscopic creatures, measuring only 1 millimeter in length, resemble tiny 8-legged bears with a characteristic bear-like gait. Under a microscope, their details are astonishing. Their bodies are covered with a tough cuticle, and their legs end in claw-like appendages that help them move across ice and snow. Tardigrades can survive conditions that kill most known forms of life. At temperatures close to absolute zero, they enter a state of cryptobiosis, where all life processes practically stop. In this state, they can endure extreme conditions, from high doses of radiation to complete dehydration. These organisms can withstand temperatures from -100 to +150 degrees Celsius, and can also withstand pressures many times greater than atmospheric. Research conducted in 2030 by scientists from the University of Cambridge showed that tardigrades can restore their functions even after many years in cryptobiosis. This discovery provided insights into the limits of life's survival. Scientists believe that studying these organisms could help in the search for life on other planets, where conditions are much harsher than on Earth. For example, on Jupiter's moons, such as Europa, or on Mars, where radiation and temperature fluctuations can be as extreme as in Antarctica. Tardigrades demonstrate that life, even in the harshest conditions, can find ways to survive and adapt, opening new horizons for research in astrobiology. Antarctica is a unique continent that has become a symbol of international cooperation and scientific progress. According to the Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959, it does not belong to any country and is used exclusively for peaceful purposes. This treaty was signed by 12 countries, including the United States, the USSR, the United Kingdom, and Australia. And today, more than 50 countries have joined it. It prohibits any military activity, nuclear testing, and the extraction of mineral resources on this continent, creating a basis for peaceful coexistence and scientific exchange. Scientific stations from various countries, such as the Russian station Vostok, the American South Pole, and the French Dumont d'Urville, are located in close proximity to each other, allowing scientists to interact and exchange data. For example, joint expeditions such as the Antarctic Climate Project are conducted to study climate changes and their impact on global processes. Researchers from different countries work together on the analysis of ice cores, which can provide information about climatic conditions over the past millions of years. Research in Antarctica has led to significant discoveries, such as the identification of new organisms adapted to extreme conditions, and the confirmation that subglacial seas may contain significant reserves of fresh water. This continent has become a living laboratory for scientists, studying not only climate changes, but also biological diversity, including unique ecosystems that exist in conditions of constant cold and darkness. For instance, research conducted in 1996 revealed that some marine invertebrates can survive in low-temperature conditions, challenging traditional notions of life's limits. The importance of international cooperation in Antarctica extends beyond scientific research. It also serves as an example of how humanity can unite for a common goal despite political and economic differences. Regular meetings are held within the Antarctic Scientific Council to discuss research results, environmental protection issues, and future plans. In 1998, the Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources was established to regulate fishing in these waters and ensure sustainable use of biological resources. Due to its unique political and ecological situation, Antarctica has become a model for other regions of the world, demonstrating that even in the presence of conflicts and diverse interests, it is possible to jointly use resources and develop science. Despite the harsh climatic conditions, Antarctica remains a significant object of international scientific interest, which continues to explore and uncover new horizons in our understanding of the planet and its ecosystems.